Good. All the time. It doesn't quill up so much. Okay. Somehow we're on. Hope you didn't hear that extra language. Okay. We are on live, finally. You didn't hear anything extra before I came on, did you? You never know with this equipment. Okay. Greetings. Everybody. Everybody. Greetings. And today's topic is enjoy the natural side effects of meditation. And so, many of you already know who I is. But just in case some other people come on and don't know who I is, I'm going to say who I is. All right. So welcome everybody. Today is Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Man, this year has flown by quickly, hasn't it? Just a minute ago, it was quote unquote the Friendsgiving Day, as I call it, or Family Giving's Day, or most people call it Thanksgiving. Okay, and then prior to that, it was people celebrating the Halloween or Samhain or Samhain, however it may pronounce. And then before that, it was that quote unquote Labor Day weekend. And then before that, there was the Lions Gate. And then before that was a whole bunch of birthdays in and around that, all at the same time. Yes, Candyman. And so there are a lot of events that have just shot by. Um, Somewhere in the wee hours this morning, there was over on the east side of Albuquerque, going toward the mountains or in the mountain area, was snow. Wee hours of the morning. By the time I got up and went out at about 9:30 in the morning, I noticed that we had to have something because the parking lot in the front and in the back was wet, and then there was water draining off the roof. So I didn't hear any rain, but it was definitely some snowflakes in the air. And so here we now are at, that was maybe around 28 degrees before sunrise. And then by the time I got out, it was 30 something, 35. And now it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. Well, anyway, this is Clear Blue Radiance. I am the podcast host, the originator of the title itself. And Clear Blue Radiance is all about getting in touch with your higher self and beginning to realize that's who you really are anyway. You just, like many of us, we have forgotten all of that. And we're trying to still understand who we are in this very moment. And so, let me shut my phone off because it's going to be buzzing in a second. One of the things, hey Rose, how you doing? Holly's here too. And there's some other people hanging out. If you want to tell your friends and family members if they're off, then working from home, or if they have some free time that they could tune in to this channel, which is the YouTube channel for Resident Essentials, and you're welcome to share this out to others. Well, I've been a spiritual counselor for 40 plus years. I'm a teacher of metaphysics and spirituality with a long term discipline in meditation since the mid 1970s. So you might say I'm quite an old relic when it comes to meditation. My topic for today is entitled Enjoy the Natural Side Effects of Meditation. Enjoy the natural side effects of meditation. Now, just about everything that we do for ourselves and to ourselves has side effects. You know, if you laugh a lot, side effects, your side effects with people around you, they start to laugh. Or if there's no one around you, you think of something that happened funny or that was said funny to you or that you heard it near you or you experienced it, then you start smiling. That's a side effect. And when you're smiling, when you're laughter, the side effect enhances your emotional nature, your mental nature, your spiritual nature as well as your physical nature, your physical body. So anything that we're doing, no matter what it is, has some type of side effect. In other words, we might call it in the street fallout. Okay, so just about everything you got your hands in, whether it's doing a garden, people around you and yourself looking at that garden, there's a side effect. There's a fallout. It's pretty. If it's got flowers, vegetables, fruit, it's pretty to you, right? And you know how it enhances your well being. Just like if you listen to music, depending on the music that you listen to. Some people like hardcore metal rock. Some people like the original rock and roll. Some people like the what do they call R&B, right? Rock and roll and blues kind of uh, infused music. People love jazz. Okay, people like hip hop music. People like things that have lasted for a long time that has an immediate effect on them, right down to colors in your environment, sound in your residence, beautiful images, or maybe you're participating in doing something that is creative in which you get the fallout from. Not only it's streaming all of that, those ideas, all of those images, all of those colors that you see that you are creating, or if you're a photographer, you can go out and take pictures of nature or city scenes and things of that. Those things have fallout effects that you are participating in. So, what we do experience, and many people do, and I'm going to preface this with the fact that I'm not knocking any medication that anybody has ever been on, pharmaceutical, over the counter, or prescribed by a series of doctors or a licensed practical nurse. I'm not knocking it because when I was a child, about 8 or 9 years old, my parents discovered that I had asthma, wheezing all the time, couldn't get air into my lungs enough so that I could overcome the shortness of breath. And as a child, actually even younger, from 2 to 4 years of age, I remember my parents receiving from a doctor that lived maybe within 10 minutes walking distance from where we lived on Long Island in the state of New York, that doctor prescribed 8 pills for me. Pills taken every 8 hours was supposed to break up any congestion in my lungs, in my bronchial tubes, in my nasal passage, and wherever mucus sits in the body. Well, I had to take 2 pills at breakfast and 2 pills after dinner. That was the first 4. Here was the other set. There were 4 more pills, and those other 2 pills that I had to take were taken every 8 hours. So I had two, two, and then two every 8 hours. So that's four. And then every 8 hours, I was taking two more pills. So can you imagine how much medication I had in my system as a child? Eventually, I kind of got myself off of it because having to take that much as a child to combat asthmatic issues that I was experiencing, I had asthma so bad I couldn't participate in gym class. In grade school, I couldn't do it, especially in my seventh and eighth grade. And in high school. No, actually, by the time I got into high school, I had a doctor's note that I could participate. Well, you know, when you have male gym teachers, they look at you as being, oh, you got to be a punk. Oh, this. They could care less what my health condition was. They could care less. I was fortunate to have a mom that would literally, what is that? BTA, ready to dish out BTA when she headed up to the school and found out that gym teachers were forcing me or making me feel bad because I wasn't participating, but I had to go to that class and sit along the side and read a book or do my homework or something. But they could care less. They wanted to see me physically out there, and they thought that I was faking it. I tell you, if I had a tape recorder back then, them guys would have been really, really in dire states. When my 5'3" mom would pop up there with her trusty bat, yeah, a wood bat, a pine baseball bat, just to prove a point that if I'm not supposed to be out there in inclement weather with those other kids, that doesn't make me a bad kid or weak-minded kid. What it does is it shows who they were. Well, anyway, let me get off of that tangent. So I had to take all this medication all the time, which basically sidetracked me. And the kind of things that I experienced before I took myself off of medication, by the time I got my, actually, I pleaded with my mother, especially, that I didn't want to take them anymore. Why? Because I broke out in hives, skin rashes. These were side effects of all of these types of asthmatic types of medication. I was always sedated, so I was sleeping all the time, almost in class. Couldn't help it. Had to take the medication. I was on it. Therefore, I was what? Addicted to it. Because if you didn't take it, then the body's looking for it all the time. And then you go through the loop-de-loop like a roller coaster up and down because you're high as a kite in one moment, heavily sedated another level, and then clear enough to be awake for class. But not only during school time, 180 days out of the year, the other 180 days, I still had to take that stuff. So eventually, I pleaded to my mother. I said, can I not take it anymore? Because it's not doing anything for me. There was, and I didn't discover this until later. And later means by the time I got into college and being blessed to talk to other students who had parents or uncles or aunts who were doctors. And what they shared with me was something called a Merck manual, MERCK manual. And what is a Merck manual? A Merck manual is a thick encyclopedia-like book that all professional medical people had in their possession, meaning the doctors. And those that perform surgery had it too. And what was in that Merck manual? All of the current pills and capsulated pills. Because, there were capsulated pills that came in colors, if you remember. There were some that were red and blue, red and yellow, uh, red and green, perhaps. And those were codes, color codes that the doctors could look up. And those colored codes would tell them, just like the pills, the round pills, or it looked like little cigar type pills that you could take that had what, a slight cutting in it, which means you could break the pill in half and take one side of it and take the other side later. But there was always an imprint somewhere on that powdered pill, hard powdered pill. It had like a symbol on it. And if you could read that symbol, you could take that Merck manual and look up the shape of the pill and the impressed image on the pill. And then it would tell you the name of the pill and the scientific name of the pill. And then it would tell you what that pill is used for and how it's being used in the patient's body. But guess what? It also showed the side effects of those same pills and those same capsules, even the liquid stuff that you took as a child. Now, here's the kicker. If a doctor's using that, and I'm not knocking the medical society, I'm just saying if the doctor is under oath, Hippocratic oath, to use that, knowing full well what the side effect is. How many of you remember all those commercials that you hear on TV about certain drugs that a person can take for their eczema or something else that's going on in their body? The person doing the commercial would they would show you a colorful movie like commercial of the person taking that item into their body, but then prescribed by law they have to tell you the side effect. And I know you've heard some of those side effects. Shortness of breath. What's another one? Suicidal tendencies. What's another one? Anger. Have a problem with anger. So they get anxiety, some kind of stress moving through their body, where the brain is giving off a signal now that, hey, there's something in here and it's too much of it traveling through the body. So now the brain is sending out electrical impulses, and the cells are responding to these impulses, and the muscles are responding to these impulses, and you are responding. You are receiving it physically, emotionally, and mentally. So you know your spiritual side is going like, hey, wait a minute now. What is this stuff that you are agreeing to take, or you couldn't agree because you were too young? These medicinal, pharmaceutical medicinal drugs have side effects. Now, I remember as a child, the side effect would do what? The lymph glands underneath my armpits would swell up. I would occasionally break out in a hot sweat, almost a fever. The worst was I was having skin rashes all over my body because certain pharmaceutical drugs that I had to take for asthma had side effects. And even though my mother was giving me the stuff and teaching me how to take it within the so-called hours. So by the time I was a junior or senior, so you might figure from the time I'm 2, 3, 4 years of age, all the way up to a senior in high school, that's a long time. That's a long time suffering. That's suffering 16 years with that stuff in my system. Some of those things said you'd have a dry mouth. You'd be thirsty, overly thirsty. You can have a swelling in the face, around the eyes, a swelling in the throat, to the point that you think you have a problem in your throat. but you don't. It's the side effect of the medication that you're taking, the pharmaceutical stuff that goes into your system. So what do you think eventually happens after about, let's say, 90 days of that stuff being in the child, teenager, or young adult, or the senior's body? The doctor is then doing what? Treating now the side effect with another drug that has another side effect. So some of these drugs in this Merck manual, if you ever get a hold of it, you can go online now, and I think you can get a free PDF, and it will tell you what the side effects are. And some of those pills have anywhere from 10 to 20 different side effects to many, many more. So what happens is your body gets accustomed to the drug. Now you're addicted to taking the drug. Now you have the side effect, which takes you away from the original reason for taking the drug in the first place. Again, I'm not knocking the medical society, because sometimes if we don't have anything else in our disposal, we what? Revert to taking that drug because we feel it's going to help us. That's even with there's side effects for people who are taking drugs to help them lose weight rapidly because they can't do it in a natural process. There's stuff going on. So here comes physical exercises, whether it's martial arts, whether the big thing now people have been doing for the past 10, 20 years, doing Tai Chi and Qigong exercises. People naturally going to the gym and working out because that helps them getting on that treadmill, walking that treadmill. People who can swim or who can ride their bikes, or people who can go out jogging around in their neighborhood or at a high school or a college and get out there if they can get on the field and do that, or some basic calisthenics and exercises. Why? Because you need to get the side effect from the exercising. The fallout from the physical exercise is hopefully a more toned body, a healthier body, stronger muscles, more flexibility. These things are positive side effects that can help the individual that's involved in using them. Well, now you have meditation. You've had meditation for hundreds of years, thousands of years, in all types of civilizations and cultures. You've had meditation and prayer moments, solo and group. Now, what are the side effects if you're involved in some form of meditation, whether it's solo or group, and just flat out silent meditation, or you're doing guided meditation? Both of them work. What are the side effects that a person doing meditation, hopefully daily, and not just a few days or a few nights out of the week, but using all 7 days and 7 nights, at least twice a day? The daily use of meditation will assist anyone in overcoming stress, anxiety, worry, fear, doubt, illusionary thinking, which is having illusionary thoughts, hallucinating, you're seeing something that's not physically there yet or energetically there, but in the mind or through your eyes, you see something. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't see anything, because your pineal and pituitary gland, pineal is sitting in there somewhere between your ears in the center of your head, and it's kicking out information, and it's radiating information back and forth between it and the pituitary and all the other chakra energies in the body. You do, through your physical eyes, experience something that you see around yourself. Like you might see little flecks of light and mistaking it as dirt in the air. The other day, I was out with some friends for breakfast, and I was able to face this window from where we were seated. Actually, the window to my right and ahead of me. And I saw some thin, fine lines. Now, it's this is something that everybody is experiencing on some level. Thin, fine lines in an angle, almost what appears to be a 45-degree angle, or going up and down vertically, or going whizzing around you horizontally. Also, sometimes seeing little orbs of light with these eyes because of the energy system in the body getting clearer so that you could see these little or tiny orbs floating around. And you're squinting like, what in the heck is that? But if you're someone who does meditation and you're sensitive to these different things going on around you and can hear things going on around you, then you're in a very valuable position with yourself. Now, if you use meditation every day, every day, at least twice a day, you will fine tune yourself and start to receive positive side effects from you doing the meditation every day. What else can meditation help you do? Well, it'll help you overcome any emotional conflicts that you have and that you will experience from time to time, trying to express yourself and dealing with what? Egocentric personalities. That's people who are so much into themselves they could care less about you. That's dealing with a narcissistic person or a person with narcissistic behavior or a person who wants to be a martyr all the time or a person who is a martyr but you can't handle the energy coming off of them. You have to somehow disconnect. And you're not disconnecting because you don't want to help the person. You're disconnecting because your personal energy is not strong enough to help that person. Then there are people who won't do anything for themselves, or when they do, it won't be enough. Why? Because maybe other people can be teaching them and not teaching them everything. That would be like going to a martial arts school or a boxing school, boxing gym. Now, you know, if you go into a boxing gym, what the trainer's going to do. Trainer's going to make you work your body. It's going to make you run up and down stairs. Going to make you run a mile with the other boxers. And once you get accustomed to running that mile with a group as well as by yourself every other day, what do you think is almost every day? What do you think is the positive fallout? Stronger legs, stronger upper body, stronger middle core, as I say, abdominals, stronger glutes. Okay, you're going to develop that. You're going to develop a rhythm that you could utilize. You're going to develop stronger tendons, more flexible tendons, so you can duck and weave punches, right? All these things that a person, man or woman, boy or girl, learns to defend themselves in boxing, these are the positive fallouts. Quicker reaction, quicker mental reaction. So they're not overreacting. You know, a bully could be raining verbal assault, but that person that knows themselves and can defend themselves properly no longer is afraid. That so called once a victim is no longer a victim because the victim can handle themselves now. They're no longer a victim. In fact, they're already sizing up the bully. They're taking in where their weak points would be, where they want to hit them. Someone who studied judo or jujitsu, especially someone who studied jujitsu, oh my goodness, they'll understand where the pressure points and the locking of joints and what that does. And all these other jujitsu systems. Those students, men, women, and children and seniors that have earned a right to be there will always have positive, positive side effects. because they're no longer afraid. They can defend themselves, and they can keep most people off of them. So, what else happens? The daily use of meditation will assist in connecting deeply with ourselves and ourselves to receive what we already have. Now, why would I say that? Receive what we already have. We have what has been called a divine blueprint embedded that holds all kinds of information connected to our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bodies. That means, and I've taught it before, and I had to learn this process, is that the cells inside of your body, inside of your organs, are listening to your thoughts, feeling your emotional energy coming off your thoughts, and feeling the effects it has with your physical organs and nerves and muscles. And all this energy is traveling where? Not only in your bloodstream, but through what is called your fascial body, not the face. It's a thin membrane that covers your muscles, and it runs between your muscles and your skin. And this fascia is carrying the lightning force of your chi. Japanese call it ki, Chinese call it chi, but it can be spelled differently. The bottom line is we are housing these elements already inside the body. The cells are constantly listening, and there's something as we call the cellular memory embedded throughout your cells and your muscles. That's what I've said before. Your body remembers trauma better than you do, better than the brain. Your muscles, the cellular memory in your muscles, in your cells, is holding on to life's experiences. So our body is like a deep rooted video cassette recorder, audio cassette recorder, energetic cassette recorder, remembering pretty close the annual time when you had an accident, right? Hi there, how you doing? So your body remembers when you had an accident that maybe almost took your life. Your body remembers it. To this day, my physical body always remembers the anniversary of an auto accident that I didn't cause, that I was in, and I'm still alive, was able to walk away from the accident. But the car that I was driving got cut off from some college students who, I must say, at the time, they were smoking marijuana, high as a kite, and also a little on the drunk side, cut me off because they were doing a daredevil thing on a bed of ice. Cut me off on a Wednesday. I'd have to look up the date, but I remember it happened January, third week of January, on a bed of ice on a Wednesday. And I remember it was a Wednesday because I had volunteered to drive from where I was working out in Suffolk County into Nassau County to pick up my brother so he and I could go to a Moorish Science Temple business meeting on a Wednesday night. They were held every Wednesday. But the accident occurred at 5 or 5:30 p.m. on the third Wednesday in the month of January in 1984. Can you imagine driving a fiberglass vehicle? That's what I had. A fiberglass vehicle, a 1980 Buick Omega. that had front wheel drive. So when these guys cut me off driving a 1967 Camaro, all steel body, causing me to hit them on the passenger side, not at the passenger door, right a little bit where the you see that cutout part where the door would close the hinge, right there. And guess what happened? I wasn't speeding because I'm on a bed of ice. I can't go no faster than 20, 25 miles an hour. But these guys shot out in front of me on an angle, causing me to hit them. And when I hit them, the force of the impact, the cars were spinning around, hitting each other, spinning around. I don't even know how many times it spun around, but I could tell you it was quite horrifying. And all I knew how to do was the initial hit was relax with my hands on the steering wheel, but I could feel the vibration through the car into the steering wheel, going up into my arms, going up into my back, my neck, all the way down my body. Bam, bam, bam. We hit, I don't know, three, four, maybe five times. What did they get out of it? A dent. Enough of a dent, but not enough to be disturbing because there was two twin brothers plus the driver sitting where? In the front seat of that 67 Camaro. Where those two guys, them two twin brothers, one of them could have sat in the back seat, or both of them could have sat in the back seat. But they all sat together in the front seat. Why? Because they were trading the joint. And I do remember by the time the car came to a halt, I saw a joint being flicked out of that car. But me, they said that car that I was driving, the cop said, "Oh, I've seen one of those cars before. You're driving what they call like a A-frame." I said, "What's that?" He says, "Not an H-frame, an A-frame. Part of the frame goes like this toward where the axles are." I said, "Oh, really? What's that gonna do?" He said, "Well, that's what happens when you got a front wheel drive." He says, "So where's the driver of that car? Because that car is all smashed up in the front like an accordion." I said, "I'm the driver." Cop looked at me and says, "You're the driver of that blue Omega?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How did you get out of there?" He said, I pulled myself out." He said, "You pulled yourself out of that mangled up front car?" I said, "Yeah." "You didn't get no help?" I said, "I was angry, man. These guys cut me off." I got out of the car, walked over to them, and I wanted to take that passenger hinge door off. I wanted to reach in there and choke somebody. That's how mad I was. I said, "But guess what? I had the right of way still. I had the green light. They didn't. They came from across the street where the Dunkin' Donuts was, went around the median, and cut me off. They wanted to have a daredevil effect with me, the driver. Didn't care. I could have been man, woman, or child. Could have been a pregnant woman in there driving. They didn't care. They wanted to see if they could go across me before I could hit them. Horrifying. 10 years later, the side effects came in for me. Most of the time when I was walking, hunched forward, had to walk with an old wooden cane that my mother had, my late mother had. I couldn't get out of the bed right. I had to like swing my legs up out of the bed. But I struggled. I got out. I walked. I went to work, got on the bus. The only thing that helped me with my chiropractic friend helping me was the fact that I did Tai Chi every day, no matter what. Side effects. Plus, not only just doing meditation, doing the Tai Chi is a form of meditation when it's done nice and slow, but also meditating every day, praying every day, visualization every moment that I could put it into motion. That's what helped me get through that entire process of healing with the physical body. Now, here's something else. The daily use of meditation will assist in overcoming any physical imbalances, such as high blood pressure and low blood pressure, heart palpitations, nervousness. I mean, the nervousness, you put your hand out and your whole hand is shaking. That kind of stuff is happening. Hi, Cassie. Hello, Rena, if I'm pronouncing it right, or Renee. Thank you for joining me. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, original host and podcaster of Clear Blue Radiance, usually done every Thursday live when I can, and when I can't, pre-record them. I'm the founder of my Circle of Grace One, founded July 2nd, 1974, with grace and honor. Oh, hey, how you doing? With and that number one stands for my first metaphysical spiritual teacher, my late mother, known also known as Grace. So, if you have high blood pressure, low blood pressure, or you got craving for sweets, meditation will help. If you have heart palpitations, meditation will help. You got eczema, meditation will help. You're experiencing constant nervousness throughout your body, meditation will help. Meditation also helps you with the high and low tides of the flow of Kundalini energy in our bodies. We can, at the right time, begin to experience receiving higher consciousness, but just not higher consciousness by itself. What's the use of having higher consciousness if you don't have discernment? Discernment is your ability to know the truth of various things that you are experiencing, that you're even thinking about and feeling. Receive direct understanding of self-knowledge and direct remembrance of who we truly are, which is our higher self, which then puts you in a position for self-empowerment. Now, you're going to see on the internet, and I need to say this, there's a lot of clickbait false advertising that you see on the internet. Talking about, oh yeah, I'm doing Tai Chi and this is how I got this body. That's not how they got the body. They're not saying they're in the gym lifting weights as well. Mm. Nobody gets no guy is walking around with a 6-pack, 4-pack, 8-pack of abs through Tai Chi. If that's the case, they need to go see Grandmaster Montauk Chia, who's like 80 something years old, and ask him, who's been doing Tai Chi his entire life, been doing Qigong since maybe he was a teenager or a young person. They need to go ask him. Oh, and they need to ask and see if he has a 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack from doing Tai Chi. That doesn't happen. That happens from somebody being in the freaking gym, working on the different parts of their body through different exercises. Also, there's a company, I'm not going to say their name, I said it once before, but there's a company that's saying, oh, the practice of Kundalini will make you feel calm. That's also false advertising. And you might say, well, Brother Francis, how do you know? Because in order to have your Kundalini released in your system, it must be released by someone who understands how to light you up, I would say. How to be your matchstick. You're the box. You're that rough coarse side that's going to be lit up. In other words, you need someone who's a master and an initiator that could get your Kundalini activated inside of you. You can't do it by yourself. And you can't do it by a few people who got a certificate in doing some exercises. Why? Because none of them have ever experienced, or not anyone that I know has experienced what is called Shaktipa. Shakti, Shakti, and then PAT. What is Shaktipa? Shaktipa is when a master, man or woman, who has mastered their own Kundalini, who has experienced their own Kundalini going full cycles many times, and then finally having what? Enlightenment from it. What is a Shaktipa? A Shaktipa is when you're sitting there and you agree to sit quietly and just do deep breathing, cycles of deep breathing, numerous cycles, many cycles of deep breathing within a group setting or by yourself, and waiting for a guru, which means a master teacher, who has the opportunity to sit in front of you physically and look at you eye to eye, where they are releasing from their body into their auric field, and then a cord of light running into your auric field. Where? Into your tailbone. And able to do what? Ignite your Kundalini. Kundalini is a Hindu Sanskrit word that means serpent. And you know who used to sing about the serpent? Go dig up an album by Kool and the Gang. The album has an image of a pyramid on it, and it may have a sphinx on it. And in that particular album, they say, glory, glory, hallelujah, all about the serpentine fire. They have a song about it. They're singing about the serpentine fire. That's not the exact words, but when you look it up, you'll hear the music. They're singing about the serpentine fire. That's the Kundalini process that goes not just around your spine, but through the hole in your vertebrae, through the nerves in there, igniting them. Now, it's not a fast process. That's what they want to have you believe when you go on Facebook and this particular company has a voiceover of a man saying, oh, yeah, or a woman saying, oh, my husband practicing the Kundalini energy. Yeah, if he was really practicing Kundalini, he'd have some crying tears going on. He'd have some painful experiences, memories being released out of his system if he was really experiencing the Kundalini energy. And guess what? It doesn't happen overnight. And guess what? If it ain't going through each one of the levels, each one of the chakras, and each one of the layers of the chakras, if that thing is skipping around and missing, let's say, missing your heart, then you have no compassion. You have no understanding. You have no experience of unconditional love or divine love, as it's called. If it skips past your pineal gland, you can't see through your physical eyes the truth of who you are and who others are, which means you can't see their aura. Now, if it skips around and misses your pineal gland and jumps to your pituitary gland, which is just a little higher than it, and then comes out here, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go crazy. I had a friend, his name was Harold, a brother, Asiatic brother, who was in a meditation class with me up in Harlem. And this was way back in the 1980s. I would sit in his Kundalini meditation and I realized something was off. And I then had to tell him, I said, Harold, I'm going to take myself out of these classes. He said, oh, why, Brother Francis? This is a great experience for you. I said, yeah, but you're going through something which makes me nervous, which now makes me think, do I need to go through this? I said, here we are in the 1980s. I had already went through the Shaktipa initiation. The exact date was April the 7th, 1977. So 6, 7 years later, I'm in this class with this guy, and he was a very nice guy, very knowledgeable about these things. But he himself was going through something. And I figured, without him realizing it, he's passing us some incorrect information. So I dropped out of the class. I went back at 1977. I learned that Shaktipa through a Tai Chi teacher that I had, and then he passed during the summer of 1977. And he has told us to go to Grandmaster William C.C. Chen to get Tai Chi instruction because that was his teacher. I did. But C.C. Chen wasn't releasing any information in detail about the Kundalini. To him, it wasn't all that important, but he would teach it on a different level. I wouldn't say that he didn't know. A lot of people knew, just didn't teach you everything. Why? Because there was a time and place for all of those teachings. But this, what happened to this brother? Yeah, Golden Timeline has it. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Serpentine Fire. Going to tell a story, Morning Glory, all about the Serpentine Fire. That's the wording. What happened to this guy? Eventually, his brother, I believe he was the younger of maybe 4 or 5 siblings in Harlem. And we got the word through a person where he was teaching at this particular location in Harlem that he was rushed to the hospital. He was experiencing not only heart palpitations, a dryness of his skin. And then one particular evening, one of his parents is with him, and he's saying, I feel like I'm on fire. And then he had that experience, which is horrified, that combustible experience, where his body got so hot, a part of his limb through his skin broke out with a small smoke coming through his body. I mean, the Kundalini was off the chain inside of him. He eventually, after going through so many horrifying changes, passed away at the age of 46. The Serpentine Fire is no joke, and there are no shortcuts to have a spiritual awakening because there are many things physically that will happen to you. So if they say you don't have your mind right, don't have your body right, and all those times back in the 80s, a lot of us were learning about vegetarianism at the time. I didn't understand, and neither did I master it. Back in those days, running across Dr. Sabi way back then. Notice he would talk about it all the time. A lot of it was like literally over my head because I wasn't really ready to and open enough to receive what he was teaching. If you ever run across a guy on Facebook called Aries Latham, he likes to call himself, but his name is Aries Latham, and he was born in Panama. And he is a guy that has gone in for many years. He had a business called Sun Dried Foods, cooking with the sun, meaning that he was a raw vegan guy. And he's taught, I think he has his own institute in Panama or Jamaica, and that's all he does. He certifies people how to become a vegan, how to eat those right foods and juices and fasting and all of that. He learned the science from many people and developed his own recipes. But anyway, if you never experience a Shaktipa initiation by someone who knows how to look right at you, and you can sit in front of the guru, man or woman, with your eyes closed, and they feel your energy. and then link into you with your permission, link into you and start the beginning stages of igniting your base chakra. Now, there is something that you have to know. They call it the serpentine because serpentine means snake like. That means this energy is basically coiled in your system with the head of the cobra, because that's what the symbol is. It's not just any old snake, it's the head of a cobra with his hood closed around his head. And his eyes are closed. This is the symbolism. Coiled inside your body around the first 8 vertebrae. And the head of the Kundalini sits right where the sacral chakra is, eyes closed. And this is what happens. Once you are aware that the guru has lit you up, started the process, technically you're on your own after that. And finally, the eyes of the cobra opens and it starts to work itself in and around the base chakra until the base chakra is fully opened. It's sort of like having an egg there. And the cobra is laying inside the egg and finally expands enough where it breaks through the shell, meaning its eyes open. Then, over a period of time, ignites the energy of the sacral chakra, which is the ovaries inside of a woman and the testicles inside of a man. When they awaken, when they open fully, enough where that part of the body is balanced, then it moves up into the solar plexus region. And then when that begins to open and has some form of balance, then it goes into the heart chakra region. And then the thymus included. And then at some point it gets to the base of the throat chakra. And then gets in there with the pineal gland, calcivation gets knocked off, the calcium deposits. And then works his way up into the pituitary gland. And then starts spreading around your brain. Mm-hmm. What does a person feel or can feel or can experience? When I had it, this opened up in the spring of 1988 because I had the initiation in the spring of 1977. April the 7th is when I had the initiation. It took 11 years. When it finally opened all the centers, 11 years is a long time. Anything can happen in 11 years. Anything. When it finally got up here, or as it got into the chest, I noticed I was sweating one day. I worked at a botanica, and I noticed I woke up that morning feeling a little on the dizzy side. I was drinking so much water. It was unbelievable. I was drinking a lot of water. But here's what I remember. When I got home, I couldn't even really get on a bus because I thought I might flip out. Flip out meaning I thought I might start yelling and screaming on the bus. Because at that point, I was seeing people's auras in the store, people seeing auras in the street, seeing the aura around my body. And all that time, I was into numerology. All that time, I was into dreams. I was into the tarot cards. All that time. Attending lectures up at the old Tree of Life bookstore, attending lectures in Queens and in Brooklyn at all these different metaphysical circles and locations and houses. But none of the people that I spoke to were experiencing what I experienced. So basically, I had to keep all that to myself. That wasn't easy. People knew I was struggling with asthma. And one day they said, "Hey, what happened to your asthma? Asthma is fun." And then it's, "Hey, I noticed the dark spots on the back of your hands. These areas were as dark as that at one point in my life. All the skin cleared up because of that Shakti part moving through my body. Even though I was drinking a lot of water and eating differently and everything, but I knew energetically something took place. My shins weren't as dark as this. Something was going on the inside of my body. What happened? Get to where I was renting a little space in a private house, go in there and close the door, lock, make sure there's no lights on, the curtains. I even put up a plastic bag over the windows because I needed it to be dark. I knew that. And then hearing the voice, not understanding yet that it was the voice of my higher self, saying, "Hey, you see that green pyramid in front of you? Yeah. See that red dot? Yeah. Put your Raise your arm or your hand if you can and put your index finger, either hand, on that red dot and follow it." Mm. I was sweating profusely, just like I was on the day when I had the Shakti pot. When I had the Shakti pot, I was sweating profusely through my underwear, through my t-shirt. That's why the guy told us to bring second, a second set of clothes. He said, because some of you gonna break out in a sweat, a heavy sweat. And eventually, after breaking out in that sweat, eventually felt like my brain was melting. Unusual feeling. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because I want you to know it's no fun experience. So all these people on the internet talking about, "Oh yeah, my husband, he's looking great. Oh, he's not. He didn't get that body like that. No, he didn't get no enlightenment off the bat. No, that didn't happen like that. It doesn't happen that way. There's trial and error that takes place. There's a releasing of experiences, old experiences, which also includes your fears, also includes things you've seen in dreams, also includes the things you've seen on a TV set. Like if you watch a lot of horror flicks, all that's embedded inside of you, you're going to see that too. Nobody doing this advertising is telling you that. Why? Because they never had the experience themselves. I'm one of those people that had the experience, and thanksness, appreciation to my higher self and my ancestors on the other side that I'm alive to talk about it, and now I can laugh at myself about it. But back then, I wasn't laughing. I was going through some scary moments because that Kundalini was having its way. It was dancing through me, and my body was literally on fire. All I knew how to do was breathe, because that's what my Tai Chi teacher told me. He said, "You're going to get to a moment, you're going to be acting like a bird, making sounds like a bird. You're going to be singing Om Namah Shivaya, and you're going to sing it like a bird. You're going to tweet it like a bird. Oh, you're going to try to stand up, and you're going to fall back down because you're going to feel like you're drunk." Yeah, I was drunk on chi. Couldn't stand up. Legs way too weak to stand up, even though my body was toned enough. People talk about hug a tree when I can make it across the parkway without getting hit. Yeah, and go through the part of the woods and hear the trees like elders says, "Come here, son. Get over there and hug the tree. Ants and all. Red ants, brown ants, black ants and all hugging the tree." Why? I was scared. I thought I was going crazy, and I was. Energy was all over the place. But guess what? The ants running across my body didn't go into my clothes, didn't go into my nose, didn't go into my eyes, didn't go. They walked around my mouth, walked around my nose. I must have been on fire to them little creatures. Didn't even go in my ears. None of them was walking through my hair either. They were like right here, walking around, almost like in a circle. I didn't understand it though. They understood it. They said, this living organic creature is lit up with light. And he's something else. They didn't even go in my eyes. I said, they're gonna go in my eyes. They didn't. They walked around over my eyelids. I was like I'm doing right now, wiping them away. It was an experience to behold. But I had nobody going through the experience with me. The awakening of the serpentine energy. If you should survive, like on a TV show in what was it? Mission Impossible. If you get that information, the information will self-destruct in 30 seconds. I had to go through it. 11 long years. Now, once it got here and I got comfortable in that 11th to 12th year, I got really comfortable. I didn't mind the heat. And by that time, I was doing Tai Chi in a completely different way. It was like a hallelujah dance doing the Tai Chi because that's the only thing that kept my sanity together. Doing Tai Chi and Qigong exercises back then. Going for walks. Being able to sit in meditation for longer periods of time. Could have a glass of water when my energy was right and look at the water and see all the bubbles fizzing up on the side of the glass from the inside. What was that telling me? High energy kicking through. A lot of it. And then one day, you can feel the descent of the energy, which means you can feel something coming down like taking a shower. How water hits your body and it starts to trickle down and wants to go in your ears and your eyes and your nose and your mouth. That's how it feels, but it feels hot, not cool, hot. And then one day, 1 month, several years later, you realize, oh, I don't even feel the energy anymore. How come I don't feel the energy anymore? Because the side effect and you are one and the same. You know, when you go through that Shaktipai initiation, however long it takes to go one full revolution in your body, you're crying. You're not crying sadness. You know something great is happening to you. Something magnificent is happening to you. And you know that you're going to be okay through the process. But you're crying. Waking up in the middle of the night and ask, who's that crying? And find out it's myself. Waking up in the morning, don't even feel hungry. I'm just going to have some tea and some French toast with no real syrup on it, maybe some jelly, maybe not that, maybe just a teaspoon of honey in tea or warm water. Maybe that's what I needed. Did it. Had some dark chocolate. Did it. Started eating differently, or sometimes, better yet, overeating. That happened all the time. Walking. That happened all the time. And I mean, walking beyond my normal walk was like a mile or two. My normal walk got to be 3 miles. Normal. Getting out in nature. Normal. People say, oh, okay, well, did you ground? Did you ground? Or did you? I had to be careful where I grounded. I always say this all the time. My late mother and her sisters would say it all the time. Be careful where you choose to walk barefooted at. Makes sense. You got little itty bitty tiny pores in the soles of your feet. And if you're not careful when you're grounding, walking on the earth with direct contact, do you know you could be walking with this pulverized glass, rust from metal, dog poop, worm poop, bird poop in the earth. It didn't get neutralized, it's embedded on the surface of the earth. Everything is walking through there, and you're picking up on it and drawing that energy through the soles of your feet up into your body. The reason why I say this, because it's nice to ground, but it's nice to know where the heck are you grounding at. You have to be careful. Hey, just like you might tell your nieces and nephews, the little ones, hey, don't pick up that syringe on the ground. What? A syringe? Leave it alone. Don't pick it up. Why? Because germs are on it and all kind of fluids are on it. They get it into what? Their palms, or let alone into their mouth, by their eyes. Be careful where you ground, where you choose to ground. And there's all kind of ways of grounding. Yeah, go hug a tree. Be careful. Ask the tree, can I hug you first? Tree might say, no, I don't want you hugging me today. I done had too many people over here hugging me, and a lot of people snotting up over here, and a lot of people coming hugging me. Didn't even have the right thoughts of them. I don't want no more hugging. Unless you are clear. Then hug me. Why do I say this? Enjoy the natural side effects of meditation. Because meditation does have side effects that are very positive. What is meditation anyway? Meditation is the act or state of finding your center in all of the energy that you're radiating out to the universe, your frequency, and externally and vibration on the inside. Find the center of being what? Being who? What are you seeking to do with the meditation? What have you decided what to do when you're meditating in the exercising of meditation? If I gave you one word, what would you choose? And guess what? You might change that word at any time. You might say, hey, I'm going to meditate on peace. Well, here's what you can do. You can meditate on becoming truth, becoming peace, becoming harmonious things, thoughts and feelings, actions. Reverend Ike said it. Neville Goddard said it. Florence Scovel Shinn said it. Dr. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore said it. All these people. A lot of Asiatic people say it all the time. They do meditation on very high levels. Got to make up your mind what you want to meditate on so that you meditate and pull in the right frequencies, the right energies towards you. There's solar gazing, being able to sit out in the sun and meditate and get all those nutrients at a certain time of the day, 2 times a day, sunrise, sunset. Listening to all kinds of music that has a certain side effect on you because you're listening to it. People know I want to go out and dance. Why you want to go out and dance? Why? Because you want to interact with people. That's a side effect. That's a fallout. Get around some people who are positive, high energy, and they're enjoying dancing to the music just like you are, and enjoying good conversation. All of that is side effect and fallout. Eventually, you want to feel the ebb, high tide and low tide of that, all that Kundalini serpentine energy. Yeah, it's released from the root chakra, but it's got to get to the top eventually. And it doesn't get there overnight. It takes years and years and years. And this is what I've learned. You're blessed if you experienced it without too many issues with yourself. You experienced it at least once. Now, if it happens a second time, which it does on its own, because once you have the experience the first time, there is going to be a second time. And if it's necessary, a third time. Now, people have asked me, "Oh, could you help me initiate mine?" I said, "I play it safe. I go no, because I haven't even mastered my own yet. So why would go over and like strike yours?" But like Akhenaten and Nefertiti have said to me, there's a safer way that you can initiate the feeling of the serpentine energy with yourself, and that's keeping it outside of the spine. That means you have to get a good internal image of your spine and then stay on the outside of your spine all the way around it. And understand that there's a lunar channel running through your body and a solar channel running through your body. That means when the sun is rising, the solar channel is awakening and the nostrils vibrate or expand. It works a little it works a little more than the other channel. Both channels are in motion. Lunar right channel, left channel. One channel is very active if it's solar first dealing with, and then right around 1 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, heading toward 3 p.m., the sun has less effect, but it's still functioning, but the lunar is in motion. So by the time the sun is setting, the energies are switching over from the solar channel in the body to the lunar channel in the body. And then the lunar side, whichever nostril is working in that capacity, it's it's dilating on its own energetically. When I was in my Tai Chi classes and younger, my late 20s, my Tai Chi teacher, who was a part of the Shakti Pa ceremony, he said everybody needs to get a reflective mirror. And he said, "Oh, you women already have it. You got that compact, the thing that allows you to see yourself putting on your lipstick." He had a series of these things in his apartment. He would give them out, all different sizes of mirrors. And he would have the edge of the mirror, which could be sharp. He'd have the corner and the sides of that closed off with like rubber, a rubber casing, or a plastic casing that was smooth. And this is what he would do. He would say, "Come to me for evening class." We'd come show up at evening class. We'd have a partner, and we'd take that partner's mirror and put it underneath the nose, and then look. And sure enough, you see one ring of energy hit that reflective mirror. It was bigger than the other side. At night, which means that was the lunar channel functioning when breathing. And then during the daytime, do it again during the daytime, and we'll see the other channel through the nasal passage be hitting that mirror with breath almost in a circle larger than the other side. Then you got to know which one was right or left, which one was solar or lunar, which then told you something, that the body functions like that 24 hours a day. You're breathing because you must. Just like at some point you got to have water in your system, and at some point You got to have food in your system, and the right combination of food in your system will help generate the energy in your body, help balance your body. So I'm gonna say it one more time, and I'm gonna say it again. You're on Facebook, and somebody says, "I got this body through Tai Chi." No, they didn't. They got that body partially through deep breathing and partially through working the chi through their body, but they also had to hit the gym and they're probably eating differently. That's how they got the body. That's how they got the body. Somebody tells you, "Oh, my husband is doing Kundalini work, and he feels better." Well, yeah, but what about the days when he don't feel better? What about the days when he's cussing and carrying on because there's something going on, something's being released? That's happening too. There's times when that Kundalini kicks in your body and releases, causes you to release experiences. I'm gonna tell you, the real deal is you're gonna feel fearful, like somebody's after you, like somebody's coming after you physically to hurt you. You're gonna experience it. Your dreams will become very active, and you'll be in your dreams. You will experience one day lucid dreaming and never stop having a lucid dream. You one time have an experience of some kind of symbolic dream that makes you feel like you're being chased in your dreams. And then you have to put it all together. I'm being chased in my dreams. What is going on? You have to put it together. You have to recognize all these different symbols going on. So I say this not to scare anybody, but just to let you know it's not an easy process. Working with the serpentine energy is not an easy process. There are some ups and there's some downs. And then there are some moments where you don't experience anything. That's when you're in the thick and thin of it because you can't experience. You don't know what you're experiencing. But you do know I need to be quiet. So if you're living by yourself, it's fine. But if you have a partner, you got to tell them, "Dear, I gotta go for a walk." And she said, "Are you okay?" You're gonna have to say, "I think I'm okay," or "I know I'm not okay," or "I know I'm okay." You got to do one of those threes. You just can't say because these things do happen. They are real experiences. So what you can do is journal the experience. Write something about that, what you feel, what you think is going on. And I mean, describe it in detail. What kind of colors, what kind of feelings, what kind of insects was popping up around you in the ethers and for real. What did you notice something or someone is looking at you? Did you realize you're looking at yourself? Did you realize your higher self is looking at you? Did you realize angelic or angled forms are formulating in the ethers around you that allows you to see something? All these things happen. This is why I have this title, Enjoy the Natural Side Effects of Meditation. Because some days when you finally get to a certain level of understanding with yourself, guess what you're going to have to do? After all the crying of releasing is going on, you have to start to smile through it, and you're going to have to do what they call nowadays, 10 years ago, laugh yoga. That's start laughing at yourself. Because what? Laughing is a remedy that brings forth pleasurable experiences, but it also tells you that you didn't go crazy. You didn't hurt yourself nor someone else, which is just as important. So, time for me to bring you into a state of meditation. And what I want to do is I want you to feel your meditation. So if you happen to be home right now, if you happen to be home, have a notepad, a pen with a pencil with an eraser or a pen. And what you're going to do is when this is all said and done, To the best of your ability, you're going to write what you are feeling. And you may not feel anything in that moment. You might feel it 24 hours later, 12 hours later. But I want you to write about what you thought you were feeling and what you're actually feeling. What are the sensations that you're getting through your moment of meditation? Did you see any images? Could you describe the images to yourself? Because it's for you, you got to describe the image. And once you're able to begin to do that, the ability to describe, to record what you are feeling, what you are thinking, what you are seeing, what you heard, words around you, once you start to be able to do all of that, journal all of that, that helps you get clearer. That helps you see the language, the symbols, the sounds, the colors that are connected to you. Once you begin to have such an experience, it's going to be the aha moment, the hallelujah moment, the yes, Lord movement. This is going to feel like you got to get up and dance. You're going to be like the late Sherman Hemsley. You're going to be out there moving, moving and grooving because you're going to realize I got something, I experienced something, I went through something, and I'm coming out the other side and I'm joyful about it. But understand, not everybody has the same exact experience. Everybody's experience is different. Why? Because your spiritual signature is different. Your soul signature is different. You're different than the next man or woman in your family. You're different from your son or daughter. But I tell you, who will notice something that's going on? If you have any quote unquote fur kids in your house, they will know before you know that something's happening to you. Dog or cat will just look at you. Hey, mom and dad, you okay? Let me lick you because something's going on here. Let me get you calm. Let me sit on your foot. Let me lean up against you with my heavy 150-pound body. Let me lay next to you. Let me sniff you. Something's happening. Cat starts purring. Cats are different. Cats will say, I don't care what you're going through. Stroke my ears. That's what the cat's gonna say. You'll be fine. Just stroke me, pet me, feed me. You'll be fine. So close your eyes if you can. And what's very, very important is sit up as straight as possible without straining the lower part of your back, your neck, your shoulders. Just sit so that you can be comfortable. We're going to strive to have a connection to the positive side effects when you meditate, whether you choose to do it in a group form or solo. Now, group form means yourself and one other person or a third person, where one of you can designate, well, I'm just going to be the anchor. I'm just going to stay quiet. I'll open my eyes every now and then, and I'll look at the both of you to make sure you guys are okay. Then close my eyes again. People say, well, if there's two of you or three of you, should you hold hands? If you want to. But what's going to happen is you're going to break the connection, that physical connection, but the energetic connection will remain. Some people say, well, I don't need to protect myself. Well, maybe not. But some people do. Why? Because when you're starting to meditate for yourself, you start to build up internal energy and energy that pours through the pores of your skin into your auric field, and then beyond that into the location where you're meditating at. And if you choose to go outside into a park, you're going to have to layer yourself with a lot of light energy. Why? Because there's a lot of other people that get attracted to you too. They're not positive. So you're out there in the park, you choose to meditate. There's people walking throughout the park looking for what? Someone to mess with. Oh, there's a woman sitting out there or a guy sitting on the bench. Is he quiet enough? Is he so much inside of himself that he don't know as I could take his bag? or take her purse. Be careful where you choose to meditate at. Be careful. Not everybody you come across is going to be positive in these outward places. You can go to a mall and practice meditation. Not everybody walking around there is going to be nice and let you sit by yourself. Somebody looking to take something, because it happens. I've seen it happen numerous times. But anyway, put your mind, your awareness in the center of your sternum. Back behind that sternum is your physical heart. Your heart is not sitting to the right nor the left. It's actually sitting between your two lungs. Place your awareness there. At this moment, inhale through the nose. Without pausing, let it out through your mouth. Without pausing, inhale through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Taking your time. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. The inhalation and exhalation is one cycle of breath. You don't have to hold it out or at the top of the inhalation. When you're ready, do all the breathing through your nose. Here's a hint. Where would you like to draw all this energy, this oxygen, the chi in the air? Where do you want it to go? You don't push it. It's kind of like pulling it and leading it. So, notice people who run track, distant track, right? They give themselves a target past their body. Give yourself an internal target. The internal target is first getting that air through your nasal passage right up in here, right around this part first. So be here in the center of your sternum, but be aware of where you want that energy. I want you to be aware of the energy coming through the nasal passage. And first, while you're focusing on the center of your sternum, you're drawing and leading it into the nasal passage, up into the face, up down to your throat, into your lungs, bronchial tubes. Exhale. When you exhale, where are you leading the breath? Just outside your nostrils. Place your awareness, part of your awareness there, just outside your nostrils, on the top of your upper lip, just past your face. That's when you're exhaling. Inhale again. Exhale. You have to establish rhythm. What is the rhythm of your breath like when you inhale and exhale? What does that feel like to you? Just make a mental note. You want to begin to quiet the mind. In other words, don't overthink this. Do not overanalyze what you're doing. Just be in the present moment. Don't think about what you got to do next after this is over. Don't think about what you did a few moments ago, what you did this morning, what you did last night. Stay present in the moment, in the now moment. The late Ram Dass, Richard Albert would say, be here now. Let your body relax. Feel tension in your chest. Feel around in your neck muscles. Be aware of it, and then you can touch yourself in those areas. You can stroke the neck if you need to. Stroke the shoulder if you need to. Stroke across your chest, the upper part of your back, sending a signal to your body to relax those areas. You might have tension in your head or by your eyes and the temples. You can stroke that area. You can touch lightly. Send a signal to relax. Remember, sit as straight as you can. And how you do that is use the top of your head and push up. Use your neck to straighten it out just a tad. Not ramrod straight, just a tad. As if you were like one of those African or Asian sisters and brothers balancing a basket on your head with clothes or fruit. Sit up straight. Let your shoulders come down and roll back just a tad. Keep breathing. If you're experiencing any sinus congestion, you can inhale through the nose a little bit, exhale through the mouth, and then keep the lips slightly parted and inhale through your mouth. When you do that, think about the sinus cavity. You want to bring that energy up there, through it, and back out again. And then return to the breathing through your nasal passage. And then, when you're ready, and if you can at this moment, you can take the shifting of focusing on the heart and unite it with the rest of the chakra energies in your body. So you can take the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra, the sacral chakra. It'll automatically create a bridge using the solar plexus. You can think about the brow center, where you're deep inside your head at the pineal gland, and use the throat as a bridge between those 2 points. Don't rush. Take your time. Tell yourself in here, I'm relaxing. I'm not thinking too much. I'm not analyzing. You can now think about your palms or the soles of your feet. Relax. It's almost like you get past the fact that, what's that childhood phrase song? The hip bone's connected to the knee bone, connected to the ankle bone, connected to the foot. You don't want to feel any of that. You just want to feel the sole of your feet. You want to feel the palms of your hands. Keep breathing. Your body is interacting with itself. Your body is listening already to the thoughts swirling around in your head, the feelings swirling around in your body. But I want you to let go of all the thinking and just feel. Don't let your head tip to the right, nor to the left, nor forward, nor back. Find that sweet spot. How do you find it? Focus on the base of your skull. That's how you find it. Because then when you put your mind there, your chin will either go up higher if it needs to go up or come down a little lower. But one thing, it won't block off the throat and it won't hang the skull backwards. It's going to find its middle point naturally. Or as Master Montauk Chia would say, smile when you focus on the heart. Imagining you're in the chamber of the heart and it's huge and you're in there smiling, looking around, smiling at everything you see inside the heart. And the heart gets excited about you doing that, so it's going to start energetically smiling back toward you. It's going to give you a sense of a little warm burst of energy coming through the heart, either in the front, in the center, or behind. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel a tingling sensation in around your hands, around your feet, on the soles of your feet, on the palms of your hand, and then all your limbs are going to start to tingle because you're on the inside of the body, not on the outside. You're going to notice that the muscles in the face are going to relax. You might even remember the sound of laughter from adults, teenagers, children, babies especially. Eventually, you realize the whole body is now so relaxed that if you pick up one hand and just drop it back down naturally, it's comfortable. You can now sway within the auric field of your body and find that sweet zone where there's no tension in your body whatsoever. You'll just now be able to pinpoint on your back right where the vertebrae is and actually find out where you need to expand, stretch from. And then you'll start to do it. And you're still breathing. And guess what? If you're seated, you'll start shifting your pelvis and the lower part of your back, where you'll bring that curved part in your back, you'll straighten it out a little bit. Why? Because you're taking your pelvis, your hips, and pushing them forward slightly and extending up at the same time. You'll get so good at it, you'll let your palms fall off from your legs and dangle, fingers slightly curved. You'll just relax. And if you happen to be almost like in a lounge chair position or laying down, you probably fall asleep. If you do, so be it. It means you're just physically tired anyway, and it's okay. You can always come back and replay this anyway. But just relax. Just allow yourself to relax. And while you all are doing that, for other people who are living out here in the state of New Mexico, in the city of Albuquerque, West Side, East Side, North Heights, East Heights, south side of Albuquerque, North Valley, South Valley. If you are anywhere near Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics this Saturday, maybe you might be working with the first Saturday of month group that's in there from 9 a.m. to about 12 noon, and the spiritual business group that they have going on is happening every first Saturday. If you're in there while it's still free, you get to understand the process of spiritual business, being a spiritual business entrepreneur person. Because I believe in January, there's a fee every month to be sitting in there learning all this stuff. Or you happen to show up at the school for my late morning, 1 hour meditation, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. this Saturday with myself and a few of my students. Just $10 per person. You can experience Creative Pathwork Meditation Series. Or you show up at a special event that I'm doing in the center, but in the back part of the center. I'm there this Saturday, December 6th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., $30 a person, creating and doing what is called an afternoon of remembrance with myself, Brother Francis. And what goes on there during that special event? I take you through a very powerful, energetic, guided meditation that's designed to raise your energy up a little higher so that you could feel energy with yourself, and so that you are open more to being and expressing your higher self. And once this guided meditation is done, it takes about 25, 35 minutes. Then I go around the room and give everybody a mini reading. And this mini reading will reveal to you, if you're here in person, we don't put it online, you have to be here in person, whatever you might be experiencing from a higher standpoint. Also, what you might have to do now in order to create more balance for yourself energetically with you, life partners, household. Or you get a glimpse at where you are headed. And I'm not using numerology at the time, I'm using the pure energy focused and displayed in that location for everybody. And you get a chance to record me giving you your information. The only thing you can't record, you cannot record the guided meditation that comes. And you cannot record the sounds that will come through me, like my own light language sound. But anyway, that event at $30 a head runs from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. this Saturday, December the 6th, 2025. An afternoon of remembrance with Brother Francis. That's me. As you continue to do your breathing, I want you to breathe like that as you bring yourself out of the meditation. So let me, if you haven't opened your eyelids yet, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale one more time or several times and exhale through your mouth. Do those 3 or 4 cycles of breath. Let yourself come on through. Relax. Maybe you inhale and go like this. Maybe you have to make an external sound as you exhale. I want to thank everybody who popped in. Holly Hemmett, Cassie Derwin, Rose Jefferson, Renee, HHC. Uh, who else is here? Golden Timeline. And for people who will come through later, such as Indigo Moon, Linda Garcia, if she has an opportunity to do so, Jackie Fillmore, Melanie Hall, Ronald Dunstan, better known as Brother Kafa, anyone, Michelle, Will Phillip, Barbara Ewing, she might be already in here. Thank you all for being supportive. I appreciate you for supporting me, showing up, whether you get to listen live or later. Don't forget to click the like button. You can also click that like button later when you come back here to Resonant Essentials YouTube channel and watch it. Anywho, thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence of being here. And I was glad to be here and do this with you and for you. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, the founder of the Circle of Grace One, founded July 2nd, 1974, on Long Island, New York, way back then, in honor to my first spiritual and metaphysical teacher, Mother Grace Revels, and all of my other teachers after that. Give honor and appreciation to everybody. My grace is your grace. Thanks to my ancestors, Mother Grace, Grandma Charlotte, Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and everybody else. Even my late dad, he was sitting in here today, Father Napoleon. I give thanks to everybody. May you have a great rest of your day, a great Friday, a great Saturday, a great Sunday, a great rest of your week. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Look forward to seeing all of you real soon. Take care of yourselves. Love yourself more. Laugh as much as you can. Laughter is a medicine in itself. All right, everybody. Take care now.